Sega. Yeah. Fucking memories. Not really, though. I didn't actually play a lot of Sonic 1. Sonic 2 was the first one I got into. So, don't actually have a lot of nostalgia about Sonic, the first game here. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, which is to do videos on all of the Sonic games. Because I'm sick of the haters. Know how it be? Why I gotta be hating? Why haters gonna hate? The fucking Sonic games are games that are a huge part of my childhood and have shaped me into becoming the broken, hollow shell of a fox that you see before you now. And I like all the game. I'm not... the fucking internet disparity of, oh, Sonic hasn't been good since the Genesis. That's the primary, like, motivating factor of, like, fucking internet denizens or a bunch of chuckle fucks. Like, no, they're all really good. I'm gonna show that by fucking playing them. And, like, it's funny though, because I kind of have to necessarily start with the first one, and I actually think the first Sonic game is, like, the worst one, because I see what they were going for. They were, like, doing some interesting new things, but you can like, they were still experimenting. You can almost see this game as more of a prototype of what the series would eventually become, more than a fully functional game in and of itself. Like, there's a lot of parts about this game that are just really rough to go back to for me, especially since, again, Sonic 2 was the game that, like, dominated my childhood in terms of this series. So when I say, like, I want to do videos on, like, the entire series, I'm not talking about spin-offs and shit. Like, that's unreasonable. Those aren't, like, really Sonic games anyway. I'm talking mainline entries into the series. And what are the... No! I'm talking mainline entries into the series. What is that? This game, Sonic 2, Sonic CD, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Sonic Heroes, possibly Shadow the Hedgehog, possibly. I own Shadow the Hedgehog, so there's no reason I couldn't do it. So we'll see. But that one's a maybe for now. And then also Sonic 2006, which, again, is also a maybe for so many reasons. For one thing, I don't own a copy. For another thing, it's actually fucking terrible. Like, that's one... Like, I don't want to say that the internet opinion of Sonic 2006 is accurate, because it's not. It's still... fuck me. That was greed. That was greed on my part, trying to get that fucking... that ring for no reason. Because it's not, but it is still a genuinely terrible game, and I don't know if I want to put myself through it. And also because that game kinda retcons itself out of existence. The ending of Sonic 2006 is, oop, the game didn't happen after all. It's fine, don't worry about it. I'm not making that up. I'm not like paraphrasing or exaggerating. That game literally ends with them erasing the entire game from existence. It's fucking awesome. But we'll see. Like, it just depends on when I get to that point. I might decide, yeah, fuck it. But for now, that one is also a maybe. Leaning towards no. And then Sonic Unleashed Colors Generations Lost World. And hey, maybe by the time I get to that point, Sonic Forces will be out. And we'll, if it is, why not do that one too? Uh-oh, the fucking the invincibility music didn't fade out. Gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of weird things about this first game that are different, and it's like weird going back to it. Although each of the Genesis games kind of did their own thing when it came to collecting the Chaos Emeralds. Like this, like, acid trip zone never really makes a return. God, I fucking hate this zone. But it's honestly, like, the least frustrating of the Collect the Chaos Emerald minigames that the series has had. Honestly, the ones from Sonic 2 are probably the most frustrating to do. There we go, one down. In this first game, there were only 6 Chaos Emeralds, which I don't really get. But, actually, it still kind of holds up because Supersonic wasn't a thing yet. So, you didn't get 7 Chaos Emeralds, so you couldn't transform into Supersonic. Kinda makes sense. And then in the second game, they find out, oh shit, there's one more, and then he can turn into Supersonic. Which, of course, an obvious reference to Dragon Ball Z, with the 7 Dragon Balls and Super Saiyans. Like, they're not even... I think they actually straight up admitted it at one point. Like, yeah, it's Supersonic, obvious. It's Super Saiyans, obviously. Although the thing of, like, collecting the 7 mystical objects is sort of a thing in a lot of mythology. Fucking goddamn son of a bitch. That's the main downside to the original Genesis games, quite frankly, is... like... you can't really see where you're going, and you'll end up running headlong into enemies or obstacles that you could not have had any, like, feasible ability to have seen that coming. God damn it! Oh god, I'm gonna die. Whew. The fucking Wii Virtual Console is just exploding under the strain of trying to render this 25-year-old Genesis game. So, motherfucker! God damn it! Yeah, I don't have any nostalgia for this first game, and honestly, I think it's not great. I think if you asked me to rank the worst Sonic games, the first one here would actually be pretty fucking high on the list of worst Sonic games. It's not great, and I don't think it's aged particularly well. Sonic 2 and 3, I think, are still just as good as the day they come out, but Sonic 1, outside of its historical context, I don't think it holds up that great at all. Like, immediately the next game comes out, and you're like, oh shit, that game wasn't super fantastic after all. But at the time, I do understand what they were going for, and, like, respect the experimentation. Because this was the era in gaming where, like, the default fucking genre to make your game was a 2D platformer. I mean, nowadays we remember it as being like Mario vs. Sonic, but the landscape was not just... it wasn't just... in terms of, like, the consoles, it was Nintendo vs. Sega, but think of it like... woo. I think of it more in terms of, like, the soda wars, only imagine there's only 2 bottles, I guess. I don't know. It's not a perfect metaphor. But it wasn't just Coke versus Pepsi. It was Coke, Pepsi, RC Cola, Sprite, 7-Up, which are 2 different drinks for some fucking reason. I know they taste different. I used to really like 7-Up, and then... I don't know, I think they actually changed the recipe, because I fucking hate 7-Up now. I actually much prefer Sprite. Dr. Pepper, just all these different kinds of soda. Son of a bitch. Whatever, all you need is 50. It's just my OCD compelling me to collect more than that. That's what the, like, 2D platformer scene was like. And then you had, like, special advertiser sodas that are like, let's create an entire new brand of soda to tie into this new movie. Because that's what would happen. You had a movie tie-in, you had a comic book tie-in, you had any kind of franchise that existed outside of video games, and they're like, hey, let's make a video game. What did they make it? A 2D fucking platformer. There was a 2D platformer for Star Trek Deep Space Nine, for crying out loud. Woo, close one. There was a 2D platformer for the Blues Brothers. There was a 2D platformer for... Damn it. I don't know if I'm gonna get all 6. That's fine, because, like, I kind of want to do, like, the replay value of showing the not having all the Chaos Emeralds ending, and also the having all the Chaos Emeralds ending. And it'd be annoying to play through it again. But we'll see. I'm just kind of... I don't have any plans. I don't have this pre-recorded. I'm just doing this as I'm playing it. I do want to show off, like, all the different endings, though, because when we get to Sonic 3, that's gonna be, like, 5 different endings. Like, the first 2 games have the one ending for didn't get all the Chaos Emeralds, and then the other ending for getting all the Chaos Emeralds. At Sonic 3, hoo boy, that game has a lot of replay value. So we'll see. But, regardless, getting off track, there was a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure fucking 2D platformer. You get my point. Like, if you wanted to make a game, it was gonna be a 2D platformer back then. Just like how nowadays, it's sandbox games. And just like how a couple years ago, it was third-person shooters. Like, every era of gaming has its default genre. And of course, that's just movie tie-ins. There was also, like, games like Arrow the Bat, Bubsy the Bobcat, Rinstar, Rocket Knight. Like, there was a lot of fucking 2D platformer games back in the day. It was the age of the mascot wars. And, Sonic was shamelessly invented by Sega as a competitor mascot to go against Mario. That was the reason behind his creation, and anyone who tells you differently is full of shit, because that's 100% true. Sega, like, sat down and said, okay, like, us and Nintendo basically got the console market locked down. They're, like, main competitor. They're using Mario as their mascot to move not only Mario games, but to move Nintendo consoles. Like, mascot's not only pushing individual games, he's pushing the company as a whole. And Sega had mascots. They had... God damn it! That's fine, it was only a shield. They had Alex Kidd. They had... Whew, close one. They had, that little spaceship that's in Yakuza 0. They had mascots, but they didn't have a company mascot. Whoa. They didn't have a character that you could say this is the face of Sega, like what Mario was for Nintendo. So that is where Sonic came from. He came from a desire to have a company representative mascot character. And it's actually really fun, to shoo close one. And it's actually really fun to go back and look at, like, concept art of them coming up with Sonic back in the day, and seeing, like, how his design evolved in the, like, preliminary stages. But, like, obviously, like, as you can see, Sonic, yes, won that competition and became the mascot for Sega, and through the, like, intentions of the company itself, came up head-to-head as, like, the competition for Mario. So it's not unreasonable that is the way they are viewed in the cultural zeitgeist as well. And in that scope of looking at them as competitors, as competing representations, like console wars, the whole concept of the console wars has and will always be dumb. But in terms of like the mythology of the industry and the way we kind of view Mario and Sonic as competing mascot characters in representation of the companies that they were created by, I say all that just like long walk for a short drink of water. I've always preferred Sonic over Mario. And I didn't even own a Sega Genesis. I don't have any, god damn it, like nostalgic company loyalty of, oh, the fucking console war was my generation's Vietnam. Fucking Movie Bob's a retard. Come on! Oh my god, this is so tense. This is so tense. No! I must get it! What is the gravity of this place? How funny would it be if they brought this minigame back at some point? In the 3D games. What is the physics of this location? Oh my god. This is very frustrating to watch, I'm sure. So close, there we go. Holy shit. That was frankly ridiculous. Whew. Anyway. And I didn't even own a Sega console. I owned the Super Nintendo, and then we got an N64. I never, actually we did have a Dreamcast, but I didn't own, like, a Genesis. So, that statement does not come from a place of, I owned the Sega console, so of course I prefer the Sega mascot. That comes from a place of, Sonic's just a better character, in my opinion. Oh my god! Scary caterpillar. By which he actually has a character. Sonic actually has a personality. Mario is kind of this blank slate of wholesomeness. Like, he doesn't really have a fucking character. Like, if he does have one, I don't know what you could... It's like the Star Wars test. The Plinkett test of describe this character without describing their physical appearance, their profession, or their role in the movie. Describe Mario's character without describing his physical appearance, his profession, or his, like, role in the video games that he's in. And I guess you could come up with something like heroic. I don't know, like, it's so hard to think of fucking anything to describe Mario with. But Sonic has visually evident characteristics even in these, like... Did I just go in a circle? Even in these story-devoid 2D games. Like, look at this. Look, I'm waiting for too long, so he's impatiently idling. He's staring at the camera and arches his brow and is tapping his foot like, are we good? Like, what's fucking holding you up, bro? Gotta go? Gonna go? Like, right there, more character than Mario is ever really given in his first game. And like that, like, you might be saying, that's unfair. That's one example out of context. And you wouldn't be wrong. But then you fast forward to the 3D games, where, like, explicit narrative starts coming into play, and it just kind of gets worse. Whereas Mario continues to not have any kind of, like, real personality to speak of. Motherfucking son of a bitch. Sonic just becomes more and more, oh my god! Whatever, it doesn't matter, it's a fucking boss stage. So, there's no Chaos Emerald at the end anyway. this becomes more and more, like more and more descriptive aspects of how you could describe him as a person. But we'll get to that when we get to it. My point is, it's not just in terms of the characterization, either. You can almost see, like, the intentional, like, guiding hand to the way Sonic was designed. Wherever Mario zigged, Sonic would zag. Or it came down to, like, Mario goes to, like, he's a, how do you say it, like an everyman type character. Oh my god, why does this happen to me? That's what I get. That's what I get for Shitaka Mario. That's what happens. No. Like, what's Mario's fucking goal? The most classical chivalry, like, classic storytelling archetype you could possibly imagine. He's gotta go save the princess. I think I'm going this way, actually. He's gotta go save the princess. But when they made Sonic, they were like, nah, man, he's too cool for that shit. He's too cool for school. He's not gonna go rescue some lame princess, dog. Son. Diggity. He's clearly got tood. Like, he's kind of this early example of, like, edgy, counterculturalism. I often describe him as, like, where Mario is Coke, Sonic's Pepsi. Like, Coke sells itself as, like, the wholesome family togetherness drink. Let's put Santa Claus on our fucking bottles every Christmas. Pepsi always sold itself as, like, the youthful rebellion alternative. They had Michael Jackson, of all people, selling, Pepsi. You're the Pepsi generation. And hey, Sega made Michael Jackson. Was it Genesis? Either an arcade or a Genesis game. And I think they got Michael Jackson to help make the music on Sonic CD. So there you go. They were aware of it. And obviously these are like corporate, marketing decisions. Son of a... Are you kidding me? But when you're looking at the characters in a white room of... Are you again? Same thing. I'm very bad at video games. In a white room of, like, what is his character, you actually have adjectives to describe. You actually have adjectives that you can describe Sonic's character with. And so, I was getting to, Mario saves the princess, like the most classical of storytelling knight in shining armor archetypes. What's Sonic's goal? He's got to defeat the fucking evil human guy who's, like, using the power of industry. Oh my god. To, like, take over the nature and enslave the animal. It's Mario... Sonic actually has, like, a weird little environmental message to him.